Trauma can play out differently depending on the person, right? Your level of resilience, it could be genetic, right? In the ways that you deal with trauma. But ultimately, I think trauma is something that affects one's quality of life. My name is Dr. Joseph Richardson. I'm a professor at the University of Maryland in the Department of African American Studies and Anthropology. So I've been working with Roar for approximately maybe 3 years now. And I've been working with Lydia Watts, the director of Roar, also with Monifa J. Riggins. And I work as the researcher with the programs that they've established in partnership with the hospital at the University of Maryland. So let me start. I'm clearly a Black man, born and raised in Philadelphia in a working-class neighborhood in Philly. And, you know, I grew up in the crack era. So I saw young men in my community who were survivors and homicide victims of firearm violence, were addicted to drugs, addicted to crack. Some went to jail. Others, managed to escape that lifestyle. And, you know, I happened to be one of those people who survived it and witnessed, you know, firsthand what it was like when someone was shot, how that traumatic stress affected their lives.
Damon Walker. I'm 44, live on the west side. I'm real active in my community as far as like dealing with, youth, anybody that's maybe disabled. So that's a big passion of mine. Been a lifelong resident of Baltimore. Baltimore was a very beautiful place. You know, I kind of didn't understand how important it was for so many Black people to be in one place at one time. And you know, you saw a lot of community, a lot of family, but then it came a point where, you know, things changed and it started feeling kind of treacherous in the streets, and, you know, it didn't look so sunny outside, and the dark look even darker sometimes, you know, especially when the drugs, and, you know, I started becoming aware of, you know, a lot of aspects of the streets. You know, started seeing people get killed, murdered. You know, a lot of my friends been murdered. You know, I became a juvenile delinquent myself. Just one night, it was New Year's Eve. My mom was actually in the hospital getting surgery, and I was probably going to go home, but just because my mom wasn't there, I ended up going out to the club, and you know, it was a good night. It was an awesome night at the club, and but I was a little tired because I worked the double that day, and I left out. And when I was walking, you know, to get to, you know, catching me a cab home, four dudes jumped out on me. We got into a fight. I whipped all the asses for real, but the first dude, he came back and shot me, and I was paralyzed. I mean, the peer healing group is really what we really need, you know, in the community. And the peer healing group, it could be a kitchen table, you know, at your house. You know, it could be like brothers need to be able, like, not even just brothers, us as a people need to be able to do this, because once the brothers get tight, then we gotta cross the lines and make sure the families, the men and the women rolling together. So I think this is something that lacks in the community. Again, you know, I just feel like us coming together and just bearing our hearts and you know, dealing with issues, it definitely is a benefit. It's something that's always gonna come back to us, and it's something that young people, you know, what's the core of violence is misunderstanding, you know, that, you know, I couldn't articulate myself, now we shooting, now we fighting, or whatever the case may be. You know, it could even be the reason I got robbed this store is because I can't write down on a piece of paper for an application. You know, I should be able to tell that to my brother, like, yo, I can't read, I need some help with this. You know, and you know, because I remember I couldn't read, my man couldn't count. So I had to help him out. You know, he had to help me out. But if we could do that type of thing, I just know a lot of the problems in the city would go away. And that's exactly why the problems happen, because people don't talk to each other in no human type of way.
Lamont Whitby, born in John Hopkins Hospital, born and raised in East Baltimore, Montford Avenue, Montford and Biddle. When I got shot in my stomach, I actually was fighting somebody with a gun, fighting two people with a gun. And it was crazy because they actually threw the gun across the street. One actually run, I'm touching the gun, boom, threw it across the street. I could have just ran or whatever. I don't know, for some reason, at 14 years old, I didn't run. All they heard was one shot, pow. I felt it, but I didn't feel it. Like my body just got hot, and I'm just walking. I was like 2 blocks away from my house. I just started walking, and I'm like, I think I'm shot, but I don't know I'm shot because I lift my shirt up and I don't see nothing. Dude see me on my steps and was like, yo, what's wrong with you? Matter of fact, to make it even worse, I remember knocking on somebody's door, and I said it. I said, if I live and I got this hospital or whatever the fuck it is, I'm gonna come and shoot the people in the house I knocked on the door that slammed the door in my face. Because I knocked on somebody's door as I was walking. I'm glad I dismissed that. But got to my house, dude see me. He's like, yo, what's wrong with you? I was like, oh, I think I'm shot. He ain't see it either. Knocked on my door, my father came downstairs, got me in the house. I guess as he figuring like something wrong with me, he lifted my shirt up, I guess like, this boy's shot. And I blanked out from there. We come from trauma. How many people get shot every day around here? And hearing the shot, hoping it ain't going through their doors. This city is trauma. The world is trauma right now, but the city is trauma, and people mask it, and they don't know how to outlet. So this group actually felt like an outlet for certain people. And if it come abroad, it come abroad. But it had to be genuine.
My name is Antonio. I thought I would be met with compassion, right? There's nobody meeting me with compassion. It was a police officer that was supposed to stay right there with me the whole time. But when I first got there, they put me on a wheelchair. They rolled me back. I'm on a wheelchair, and then they throw me on the table. And they was like, it's so much blood, we can't tell where they hit. So they took some scissors and they cut all my clothes off quick as I know what. Boom! Butt naked. I'm like, okay. Then they checking me. They rolled me over. They looking at my butt. They looking at everything, making sure there ain't no more bullet holes. And then they was like, they ain't do no surgery. I was like, all right, we ain't gotta take him to surgery. There's a police officer out there, and he was black. And I looked at the police, and I don't know why, but I felt the connection because he was a black man. I was young. So I was like, hey, yo, I just got shot. Am I gonna die? I was like, is it gonna be all right? His exact words. He looked at me and said, people die every day. You might.
So the value of it started really with the first session we ever did. And when we started, I had asked the question, what did they want to call it? Because the first thing that you need to do when you're working in the community is you need to take a step back and let the people who are actually impacted own what it is. Like they should own it, not me or any scholar that's coming in to impose what we think. And they said they didn't want to call it therapy, they didn't want to call it counseling, they wanted to call it peer healing. And it's interesting how like you can put those words into the universe and they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm not gonna go too far into this because I don't want to implicate anyone in this conversation, but you know, by the time we hit week 4, there was an issue that one of the young brothers put on the table, you know, that was about conflict. And like for the next 2.5 hours, all the brothers that were involved in that call, like they didn't try to necessarily talk him off the ledge from doing something, but they gave him the reality of what the consequences would be. I'm not here to judge you. And I'm not here to like persuade you either way. I'm just going to tell you this could be your reality if you decide to do it one way or the other. It allowed brothers to see a brother from the east side and a brother from the west side who probably normally wouldn't had a one-on-one conversation or a conversation within a group among brothers, because where else would they have connected in this way to really express like their level of humanity and vulnerability as men. So I think that's what we really broke down those barriers and got men to see like the genuineness of just what it is to be a man and all the things as men we deal with regardless of what walk of life you come from. You know, and that was the beauty of it too, because we had dudes with different levels of education. We had dudes that was like Tone, he driving a truck while he's on the calls.
I took everything for what it was, yo. It was the realest, greatest moment because it was us. It was us. And I mean that like in a good way and in a bad way. I got friends of all calibers, white, black, Indian, everybody. But I get personally offended when if my Chinese friend, he goes through something and he got his community to fix his problem before he bring his problem to me. By the time I give him advice on any problem, it's already been kind of cleared up by his community. I felt a little like prideful, like I finally got an outlet where this is my people talking. This ain't nobody else people. This is all these dudes like come from a certain line of either Baltimore, DC. So this is like the DMV, this is Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. We here. It's only certain things you're gonna experience that we know. So I was like, y'all, this is good. This is good. This ain't, you know what I mean? Because if somebody else was to do let's say somebody else was to do it, and let's say he was white, black, or indifferent, and I'm sure they come with the background, the knowledge, and I'm sure they could do it. But then you like, yo, it's too many barriers to break down. One, we got the race barrier. We gotta break down the culture barrier, and we got this barrier that just the understanding of what we go through in a day-to-day life. So it ain't gonna be as genuine. And I ain't gonna lie, I put on certain masks. So if I go to get a job, they ain't never gonna know this side of me. So if I put that face of another person on, hey, this guy about to hire me for a job, I'm either not gonna be as genuine or I'm getting off the phone early. Once I felt where the conversation used to go and where it would go to, and the advice I could get, even from marital advice or from just a man just standing up on his, it was just always good. And it was always comforting. No matter how crazy it got, it was always good and it was always comforting.
And one of the things that, you know, Tone has said in his interview, which you know was so incredibly insightful, he was like, you know, the help should look like us, right? And that's what it looked like in that group. The help looked like us. And it wasn't help that was the help from a clinical counselor, it was help from just the next man. Like everybody in that circle was equal, whether it was me, or it was Che, or it was Edward, or it was Tone, or it was Damon, or it was Lamont, or, you know, any other brothers that was in the, shout out to any other brothers that was in the group. But, you know, for that hour and a half, like we were all just men, you know, really trying to find some way to heal each other. And that's why it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the men, despite all the stereotypes about black men can heal each other if we allow ourselves to be healed by your brother. Like your brother can heal you.